Hey everyone, it's George Couros. Welcome back to another episode of the Innovators Mindset podcast. Today, what I plan to do is share an experience that I just had in how I really view creating professional learning experiences for others. Now, this is a really important terminology that I use. I don't say the term professional development. Maybe I'm biased towards it, but I often use the word professional learning. The reason that I use that terminology is I feel professional development is something that is done to people. Professional learning is something that you have ownership over. It doesn't mean that you don't plan things, but there is something where ownership is so much more valuable than just having people do stuff to you or for you. So just a little, man, maybe it's just my terminology, but it's just something that I think about. And I base what I'm sharing today on an experience I had with Pinellas County schools in the Tampa, Florida area. I was with their leadership group, and they were awesome. In this email that I share, where I write some of these ideas out, and that's what I'm going to talk about to you today. One of the things I share about is from my book Forward Together, and it is a quote that is really meaningful to me. And I often think, why did I even bring this up in the first place? And it's simply this: people do not want you pushing them unless they know you have their back. This is something that I've dealt with not only in education, but on a personal level. Sometimes you get criticism from people who you just really know deep down, they don't want you to succeed. They don't want you to win. They're pushing you because they want you to fall. Whereas there's other times you will get pushed and challenged by people that you know when you are not in the room, they are going to support you. They got your back when you need it the most, but they're pushing you because they have high expectations for you. This is so important, not only as professionals and adults, but kids. I'm very tough on my own kids, but they know I love them. And the reason I'm tough on them is because I have such high expectations for how they treat others, how they look at themselves, their work ethic, their discipline. That matters to me. And I think that matters to a lot of people as well. So how do I create this? And here's something I just want to pull aside. I know I'm promoting my own book, but I'm so proud of this book, Forward Together. The subtitle is Moving Schools from Conflict to Community in Contentious Times. And if you are in a space where people are fighting, obviously it's a great book. But even when things are going well, I think this book is really valuable because we are always thinking about professional learning experiences and how adults receive new learning opportunities as well. So even when you think things are good, how do we actually get them to being a great space? And that is why ownership is so much more important than the term of buy-in. Buy-in is something that, again, you are manipulating, and maybe that's a strong term, but you're trying to convince other people to your ideas, where ownership is when we build the ideas together. If you take those two terms and you look at the definition that way, which do you think people want to succeed more? The one that they are convinced to do, or the one that they actually have input and feedback on? So that's something that really matters. And that's why if you lead any type of professional learning and things are going great, I'm telling you, this book is going to be really helpful to you. So a lot of the ideas that I'm going to share with you today are based on this. The newsletter was actually sparked, and I'll share the link to the newsletter down below as well, from a piece of feedback that I received from the group after the day and after I left. And I'll read it to you. It was this: at the busiest time of the year, ... And I'll tell you, as soon as I saw it, the busiest time of the year, ... I'm like, oh no, someone's really mad that they had to spend time with me. And so I'm bracing myself reading this. So again, at the busiest time of the year, your presentation was a breath of fresh air. Whew. It focused on the things that really matter, coupled with humor. Laughter is so great for the soul. Thank you. Now, I like to incorporate a little humor into the work that I do. I think that this is something my mentor said to me: if you don't laugh, you'd cry. And so it's way better to laugh. So that's something that I really believe in. And so, yeah, of course I want some humor, but I don't want to just be funny. I don't want to be someone who just panders to people and says, you're awesome. I want people to really get something out of it. And if you feel an emotional connection to what you're actually creating, that will make things so much better. So I'm going to share 3 ideas with you that really get people to that space where they're excited about their learning. Because if we're being honest, adults, in education, are not necessarily excited about the learning that we're doing. And instead of pointing at them, think, what could I do differently? Because all of us, including myself, have been in that seat. We're like, oh, do we seriously have to do this? Is this really what we're doing today? So before I get to those 3 points, I just want to share a couple of things. This principle is shared. This is the busiest time of the year. I got to point this out. This is really important. Every time of year in education is the busiest time of the year. There's 2 categories I actually put the times of the year. You either have the busiest or you have the busiestest. There is no kind of busy. It's always busy. No matter what time of year, if you are involved in education, it is so extremely busy. So no matter what is going on, that's why this matters, is because it has to be valuable, because we are always bombarded with work. And the other point that I shared in the newsletter is, of course, humor makes things easier. If you don't laugh, you cry. So what are the 3 points I shared with my audience that I incorporate into this day, and so grateful to receive that feedback? By the way, it wasn't the only piece of nice feedback. It was just, there's several others but that one stuck out to me because I was so scared of what it was going to happen. But here is the first point. Ensure others see themselves in the story. Years ago, there's a quote shared with me from Dale Carnegie, and I've always messed this up, but I have it right in front of me, and it's just simply this. Remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language. When I hear my own name in a crowd, it sticks out. You're really excited about it, and that matters. So one of the things I've been doing for years, and people think it's to get followers on social media, and that's not at all, is when I speak, I usually share like a hashtag, my handles on X or Instagram or whatever. And part of the reason I do that is so that while I'm speaking, I can actually have people contributing to the conversation. And when I'll show a video, I'm watching and I'm looking what's going on social media, and I will say like, hey, Mrs. R's class is in the room, and I really appreciate you being here. I love what she shared here. And actually in the newsletter, you'll see that I actually captured this, and this happened years ago. And people just kind of perk up all of a sudden because like hearing your name. And you know what's interesting is that many people don't want to share on social media during those days. They're not interested in it. But then they hear someone else's name and they're like, I want my name said. So all of a sudden, they want to be a part of that space too. And that's something that matters to me. When I talk to groups, I often share that I'm not the expert. I'm just a guy sharing some ideas with you. The experts are sitting beside you. So I want to learn from you too. And I don't just say that just as a nice thing to say, but it's because I'm looking in those spaces because I'm trying to grow in that space as well. I think it's beneficial to all of us. So what I did specifically with Pinellas County on this day is just before, I have like a lot of slides that I'll pull from, but I just want to see some of the things that they're doing. And they have a really robust social media account, as most school districts do. So I just went through and I saw some stuff, and this was a group of principals, and I found this one video where a bunch of principals are talking about their resolutions for 2026, and they're talking about how excited they are. So I actually just captured that video, and I shared the video in front of them, and many of those people were in the room. And all of a sudden, when they see themselves, it's like seeing yourself on TV. They're pumped about this. You can do this with pretty much any group, is kind of highlighting some of the stuff that they're doing. But in particular, there was a board member that was talking about how important it was for them to advocate for education, and they kept using that word over and over again. So when I shared that comment, it really tied to the notion of Forward Together, because I really dislike when people say we need to fight for public education, because as soon as you use the term fight, you have an enemy, right? Who are you fighting against? Whereas advocate, you are just sharing the great stuff, and that attracts more people to you. You're not creating teams, you're not creating divisiveness, you're pulling people together. One of the things I talk about in Forward Together, again, is I'm not interested in debates on any of this stuff. What I am interested in discussion, because debates declare a winner and loser, where discussion really is about finding the best ideas and building that together. So just showing that video and then highlighting this too, when I'm saying you're the experts and many of the things I'm going to talk about, you're already doing great. I'm just hoping that I can help you, get a little bit better at them. And I'm giving evidence of that. Immediately, there's a connection to that because they see themselves in the slides. It's not someone saying like, listen, you're not doing great, I'm here to fix it. It's someone saying, look, you're already doing some of this awesome stuff, and I want to help you get better. Here's the evidence of this too. So if you're ever doing a presentation, if you're working with your own schools, just capturing some of the stuff that's already happening and showing social evidence that things are already going well actually inspires things to get better. When you're pointing out what things are going wrong or what's lacking, then people kind of feel a little bit defeated before you even start. So the next point I want to share with you is make learning relevant to the people in front of you. This is important. I want to shape things to the work that's happening. Now, you can't just walk into a room and say, what do you want to learn today? Because you have no idea what people are going to say. They're all over the place. So there is some content, obviously, that I share before I really want to know what they want to learn. John Medina, I saw him speaking, I think it was at ISTE years ago, and he's the author of I think it's the book called Brain Rules. And I don't know if he even said that or if he even wrote this, but I remember him distinctly saying it, and it always stuck with me. And he talked about the importance of consumption for creation. It's not one or the other, it's how they serve both. And he said something along the lines of, creation without consumption is the equivalent of playing the air guitar. You might know how to play, you might know how to do the motions, but you don't know how to actually play. Obviously, I butchered, but you get it. I butchered that quote so bad. So, of course, I delivered some content. But one of the things that I do, and I love this process, is I will share these ideas with people, and they'll say, hey, listen, we're going to take a little bit of a break, and I want you to go mingle, go connect with each other. You don't get to see each other that often. We don't get this time together. Just enjoy each other. I'm creating informal time in the hallway for people to have conversations. Not giving them goals, not giving them objectives. Like, I'm giving them some abundance time, because if you think about some of the best learning experiences you've had at professional learning days, it's when you have the time to just talk to other people. So they get that. But I say, hey, listen, there's this form. It's going to take you a couple of minutes. Can you just fill it out? Like maybe 2 to 3 minutes. And it asks them some questions. So they're all off talking. But I just encourage them, make sure you fill it out before we come back. Some people will fill it out right away. Some people will wait a little bit. They need to get a snack or whatever. But what's happening is while they're doing that, I'm actually looking at what's going on, and I'm reshaping some of the things that we're doing. So I'm really focusing on how do I connect with the group in front of me based on what they learn. And one of the things that I always say, and it's kind of a joke, I tell them, like, listen, I have nothing planned. I had nothing planned. It's all based on what you said. So I tell them that I'm gonna come back to these comments. Everyone's gonna see them, so I give them that heads up, which makes them think more about what they're gonna post, because they know everyone can see them. But what I've done is I've created the second part based on your feedback and what you want to learn. So if this part sucks, this is your fault. So I was going to laugh out of that, but it is true. The day, I've never had people complain about that part of the day, because, well, of course I've had people complain about everything, right? But no like massive amounts of complaints, because it is shaped exactly to what the group wants. And I think that's what really matters. Going back to that notion of making learner relevant to the people in front of you. It's not about relevancy, like, oh, what's a current topic, whatever. It's what does that group want to learn? And what I love about it is I could work with a group of principals here, a group of principals here, a group of principals here, a group of teachers, a group of superintendents, board members, students, and I could give the exact same presentation, but the second part always changes based on, what the group wants, where they've been, where they want to go. So it's always become relevant to the room, which matters the most in that space. The third point I want to share with you is this idea of creating a warm bath, cold shower experience. This is a really big theme from Forward Together, something that matters to me. Here's something I wrote in the book. I've learned that the combination of having a warm bath and a cold shower is ideal for moving people forward. You want people to feel appreciated and good about what they currently do, but also challenged to grow. The importance of the combination is that people do not want them pushing you unless they know you have their back. That matters to me so much. Now, I'm going to give you some context here. I've seen speakers that for an hour where they will say to you, you're awesome, don't ever change, you're amazing. And my thought is, I don't need an hour of that. It's like, first of all, you don't know me, so you don't know if I'm awesome. I could be horrible. Who knows? But, if your message is don't ever change, you are awesome the way you are, then we could have actually not had that and been at the same place. But then I've also seen the other side of it, where it's like everything sucks, the system's broken, everything's horrible, and that's the cold shower. Neither one of those things really pushes growth. They either make people feel like they don't have to change, or that nothing they do will ever matter anyway. So neither things are matter. So what I really tried to do is really create a mix of those things too. People need to be affirmed. And that video that I shared at the beginning with the group in it and saying like, hey, you're already doing great stuff. Here's evidence of this. That affirms people right away. But then eventually you're going to challenge people. You're going to push them a little bit. Like, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? And you want people feeling that experience that, you know what, I'm doing some great stuff. We can get better, but also I can do this. Like I can do this. I can grow. We are actually, that's the best thing that come out of these professional learning experiences, that people feel affirmed and appreciated, but also challenged and inspired to their own growth. That matters to me because learning and growth, those two words are synonymous. If we want people to grow, they have to learn. That means there has to be something that's challenging in that space. I saw this video today and it just came on the top of my mind. This is why I love doing these podcasts, because something that's not in the newsletter that I'll give you a little extra bonus here. Somebody said that life is comfortable. You know, thinking about time where you had to like put fires together to get warmth and all this other stuff. You know, life is pretty good if you look at it across right now. Whenever you're listening to this, if you're listening to this 10 years after it was recorded, life is the most comfortable it's ever been. And I know it's not for everybody. I'm not saying that at all, but just general humanity. If you're going, I couldn't have lived thinking of how things are now. Could you go back to 100 years from now? That would be a lot difficult. Think about 300 years from now, right? That's something I think about all the time. So he said that one of the things you have to do is you have to manufacture adversity, whether it's like going to the gym, pushing yourself, challenging yourself, because in every one of our lives, including mine, including yours, we will face adversity. So if you don't learn to deal with challenge on your own, when it comes to you, you won't be able to handle it. And I think that's why that experience of both matters. You do want to create an experience where people feel a little uncomfortable. They feel this, but if you just create the discomfort without the support, that's when people just tune out of you, or they just feel so overwhelmed they can't do this. So I do want to share these 3 points again, just quickly. First one is ensure others see themselves in the story. Do people see their reflection in what you are sharing? The second point I share with this is make learning relevant to the people in front of you. Don't talk about you can talk about current topics, but it's more about, are you learning what the people who you serve want to learn and moving backwards from there? It's not only true for adults, obviously true for students. And then the third one is create a warm bath, cold shower experience. So that both push and support is really crucial. Now, if you like this podcast, I'm going to share with you again. Please pick up for it together. A lot of this is, how do you create these experiences? How do you get people who might not be excited about ideas, where you don't necessarily always agree with stuff, to actually come together to create better learning experiences, to create better solutions for people? And one of the big themes from the book is, it's not about your idea or my idea, it's about the best idea. We don't really care where it comes from. And creating those spaces where learning is super valuable, even on the busiest days, matters. So I just want to share that with you all. You can read the email below. I also put a link to Forward Together. You can get signed copies too. I'll share that link as well. I hope you got something out of this. If you stayed this long and you did it, I apologize, but really appreciate you for being here. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for all you do.